Hello, my name is Anika Gessele, and this is my entry for the science fair called Do These Three Materials Kill Bacteria? And obviously, it's a biology experiment. I hope you enjoy. First things first, my question that I based the experiment off of. For some background, whenever I got a sore throat, my mom would always make me drink tea with honey in it, gargle salt water, and sometimes I gargle vinegar because these things are supposedly antibacterial. I wanted to put them to the test to see if they actually can kill bacteria. So I asked the question, how effective are salt, honey, and vinegar at killing bacteria? I need a hypothesis. Well, weird, that salt will be most effective, honey will be second effective, and vinegar will be the least antibacterial substance. I think so because I heard that salt's self-cleaning on a cooking show. And as for honey, I thought it'd be close to second, since honey can last near indefinitely. And, vinegar's last because, well, it's acidic, and that's really the only argument that it's got going for it, so. I decided to make my experiment a Kirby-Bauer test, which meant petri dishes, swabs, discs, impregnated with antibiotics, or, whatever I chose to put in the discs, as well as a culture. After asking a family friend who works in a laboratory how I should get myself a culture, being, bacteria, I decided to make a quadrant streak plate beforehand, which I got the culture to put into that streak plate from a previous failed experiment, but, it does something to make sure that you're getting a specific bacteria. And, technically, in a Kirby-Bauer test, the rest of the plate that isn't the discs or zone of inhibition are control, so there was no need for me to make any other plates with this culture. And for the impregnated discs, I dunked each in their solution for the same amount of time. Here are the photos I took every day for the petri dishes for just 3 days. Surprisingly little time for the colonies to grow, and that's probably because I had a culture already set up. I decided to only do 3 days because if I left it for too long, it's very likely I simply wouldn't have any good results. So I decided to stop there. In a traditional Kirby-Bauer test, the effectiveness of the antibiotics are measured by how many millimeters the disc is from a solid sheet of bacteria or the nearest colony. This is called the zone of inhibition. In the picture, you can't see these zones of inhibition, however, I assure you that they are there. I've labeled the discs on each dish accordingly using a cute little color coding system that you can see in the bottom left part of the slide. The vinegar never seemed to get a zone of inhibition, then it wasn't effective against the bacteria. As for the salt, it lasted 1 day with zone of inhibition at 3.75 millimeters in radius. Honey had the same radius, however, it lasted a day longer. So in conclusion, the honey is the most effective, salt's second effective, and vinegar was the least effective. This explains why honey is said to be so good for colds, and salt is self-cleaning. It also explains why I haven't heard anything about vinegar, aside from the fact that it's acidic. Anyways, this experiment could have failed from what I could have. I did use a specific culture for this experiment, which could have simply been resistant to vinegar. And in a normal Kirby-Bauer test, the goal is to measure the sensitivity of the bacteria to the antibiotics. So this is not entirely impossible. Another possible error could have been that I sealed my plates wrong, although I did my best to avoid this. And it could have also allowed, mold, whatever else is floating around in my apartment, into the plate if I didn't seal it right. And it could have also been possible I made an error at my scientific technique, which is for preventing contamination, or the error could have been in the swabbing technique. I could have been too thorough, not thorough enough, and maybe I just didn't cinch my inoculation loop properly. And finally, it could just be that LB agar wasn't the right medium, although, I had many recommendations to use it. The real-world application I found would be that, even though it could just be bacteria I used, I wouldn't use vinegar to sterilize surfaces or food. It's not like I'm going to start rubbing honey on stuff to clean it either, but, I won't bother to waste my time with vinegar. However, the fact that salt came in second place reminds me of the saline solutions used in hospitals to clean out wounds, which is good because if salt didn't sterilize bacteria, I would be very confused about why they do that. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will end this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it very much, and maybe you learned something today. I know I did. Peace out. Alright, where's the... Okay, there we are.